Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, August 7th. From the San Antonio Express News, my name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. You can expect sunny skies and a high of 99 in San Antonio today, and this weekend, expect more sun with highs just below 100 degrees. Activists balked when San Antonio City Manager Eric Walsh unveiled the city's proposed $2.9 billion 2020-2021 budget on Thursday and saw that it included an $8 million increase in the police department budget. Police reform activists called the move a slap in the face. President Cynthia Teniente Matson of Texas A&M University San Antonio and Taylor Egme of UTSA, during a discussion with the Express News editorial board on Thursday, outlined what it will look like when students return to their campuses or take remote classes starting this month. The number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Bexar County continues to rise at a moderate rate, brushing closer to 42,000 since the pandemic started in mid-March, with the number of deaths now surpassing 400. And now, let's move on to the top stories for the day. The pandemic isn't close to being done with retailers. Now it's shaking up back-to-school shopping, usually stores' second largest moneymaker after the holidays. The National Retail Federation predicts families with children in K-12 and college will spend a combined $101.6 billion this year, an increase from $80.7 billion last year, as they purchase laptops and other electronics. How busy stores will be during Texas's sales tax holiday, which runs Friday through Sunday, is still an open question. Madison Eisler examines the question in her latest article. As a young student growing up in San Antonio, Charles Quinton Brown was quiet, studious, and serious about the future. As 3 generations of Browns stood Thursday in a hangar at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland, it was clear how far the studious one had come. Now a decorated 4-star general, Brown was installed as the Air Force Chief of Staff, becoming the first African American to hold the position. His parents, Charles and Kay Brown, grew up in San Antonio in the 1950s when blacks rode in the back of the bus and entered movie theaters through the back door. Sig Christensen's latest story of Brown's upbringing is based on interviews with his parents who now live in Ohio. In these stressful times, some people seek emotional and spiritual relief in card readings and cleansings, as well as visits to curanderos or healers and a range of spiritual counselors. Customers of all ages are visiting the shops, seeking folk cures for the mysterious virus that has infected more than 41,000 people in San Antonio, killed almost 400, and has scientists around the world scrambling to find a vaccine and cure. A web search shows there are at least 20 of these shops in San Antonio, and more operate under the radar out of homes. John McCormick talked to several healers and spiritual counselors about how their clients' needs have changed. A campaign team has formed for the November sales tax referendum that will seek to ask voters to approve the use of an existing 1/8 cent sales tax for transportation. Kelton Morgan, a Republican political consultant who formerly worked with Mayor Ron Nirenberg and engineered both of Nirenberg's mayoral victories, and Laura Barberena, a Democrat who specializes in messaging and media strategies, will run the campaign. Overseeing that effort will be 3 committees composed of heavy hitters from the worlds of business, politics, and public transit. But columnist Gilbert Garcia writes the campaign comes with a unique set of political challenges. To keep our readers up to date on the path of COVID-19, the Express News has built a dashboard of interactive graphics showing the spread of the virus in the San Antonio area, in Texas as a whole, and across the United States. We've also created an interactive map of San Antonio for COVID-19 testing sites that don't require a doctor's referral. You can find a link to the dashboard and the interactive map in this episode's description. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside your Express News subscription. The Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission is allowing bars with kitchens to reopen their dining rooms after reclassifying as restaurants. It means several local bars can get back to business with indoor dining and drinking. Governor Greg Abbott on Thursday urged Texans to get flu vaccines early and take action to protect themselves to avoid overburdening already strained Texas hospitals dealing with the pandemic. A recent study from researchers at the University of Texas at Austin highlights the COVID-19 risks as schools reopen. It suggests a school in Bexar County with 1,000 people would have at least 15 students or staff show up infected with the virus. San Antonio doormaker Steves & Sons Incorporated is expanding its Southwest Side manufacturing operations to increase its production capacity. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are backed by little more than investors' faith. Yet, they're inching towards, if not respectability, at least broader acceptance, Greg Jefferson writes. Radio giant iHeartMedia Incorporated reported another significant loss for the second quarter as the coronavirus pandemic has ravaged the company. San Antonio-based asset management firm Victory Capitals Holding Incorporated registered a significant outflow of assets in the second quarter that was partly related to a deal involving USAA's brokerage business. Marcia Hendler is a rarity in the oil and gas industry. She's the founder and CEO of an oil production company. We sat down with the boss of Terrafina Energy for a Q&A. About 50% of children in Bexar County have fallen off their immunization schedules during the pandemic. This has to change ASAP, the Express News editorial board writes. The City Council approved 2 finalists for the San Antonio Water System Board Thursday, but delayed action on a third, saying it wanted more time to consider one position. 7 military veterans received a virtual salute and their own United States flag on Thursday to commemorate their graduation from Felony Veterans Treatment Court. This was the second class to graduate from the specialty court. A historic Monticello Park home near Woodlawn Lake has housed journalists, ministers, and a future Nobel Prize winner. The 4-bedroom, 3-bath house has a vaguely Italianate design with an imposing limestone front facade framed by towering Mediterranean cypress trees. David McLemore wasn't initially impressed by the home's curb appeal when he and his wife were shopping for a new house to accommodate their then 2 young sons. Then he walked into the back room and all of that changed. Richard A. Marini has more on the history of the house built in 1935. With free agency looming, Jakob Poeltl is set to prove himself a modern small ball center against a who's who's list of opponents. Another young Spur, Derek White, is turning heads with his defense. White's 10 charges drawn in Orlando are the most by any player since the restart. Everyone's talking about luster and cast, but there are more worthy titles to read this month. We have a list of 10 new books, 5 fiction and 5 nonfiction that are worthy of your time. After weeks of seeking emotional comfort from the pandemic with food, we found 5 great salads from San Antonio area restaurants. In gardening news, Calvin Finch introduces you to 2 heat-loving, mostly deer-proof options that are a good choice for sunny San Antonio yards, while Neil Sperry answers readers' questions about Japanese maples and more. Even after a down year, college football coaches remain high on the Longhorns. San Antonio band Kingdom Collapse has cracked the mainstream rock top 40 with the inspiring anthem Uprise. And that's all for today. This was your Express Briefing. My name is Luis Vasquez. Please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside your Apple Podcast app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. See you Monday.